Thank you so much. And it's really wonderful not just to be here, but to have a chance to introduce today's special guest. It's a year that Japan has hosted the G7 summit in Hiroshima, his home city, and remains a critical partner for the common good globally. I think there is no way to open this year's summit better than with remarks from our Prime Minister. You all know that one of the main arguments about the world order that we live in is that a leaderless or a G0 world with record levels of domestic polarization, global challenges to and distrust in democracy, revolutionary impact of artificial intelligence, and several regional conflicts with worldwide effects. At these very times, there are hardly any responsible and powerful global players that increase our hope for the years to come. And Japan is one of them. You combat plenty of cases of reckless actions with sanity. You dissemble divisions and radicalization with a constructive approach to regional and global problems. And you continue to lead by example when others fail to talk, let alone act responsibly. You know, ever since Eurasia Group opened our Tokyo office here, we have received nothing but the warmest of welcomes, respect for our work, and genuine enthusiasm about deepening our partnership. And as Eurasia Group celebrates our 25th anniversary this year, Mr. Prime Minister, I want to thank you personally and your cabinet and your staff for all of their efforts. I thank you. So friends, partners, and colleagues, if you would please join me in giving the warmest welcome to a strong supporter of Eurasia Group and the G0 Summit, as well as my good friend, Prime Minister KISHIDA. Sir.
Big rounds of applause, please. And we'd like to welcome the Prime Minister. Prime Minister, thank you very much for coming. Good morning. I am Kishida Fumio, Prime Minister of Japan. I would like to extend my sincere congratulations on the grand opening of today's G0 summit. The world is now facing a turning point in history. The continuing Russia's aggression against Ukraine, growing tension in the situation surrounding Israel and Palestine, and US-China competition over superiority in technologies. Inflation is posing difficulties to the lives of citizens across the world, including in Japan. Against such a backdrop, and as the US presidential election and other important elections in Asia and Europe are scheduled, the year 2024 is expected to become a crossroad for the coming decade in the international politics. Last month, at the APEC leaders meeting in San Francisco, I had meetings with President Biden of the United States and President Xi of China and other leaders from around the world. Through the series of meetings, I felt the realities and trends facing the world very concretely. From countries to private companies, every player is vying for hegemony in every field. The world we are facing is exactly the G0 world, which Dr. Bremer has long propounded. We live in an era where division and cooperation are intricately intertwined. What can Japan do? I will talk about Japan's actions that demonstrate this in short. By using three areas as examples: digital transformation, DX, green transformation, GX, and economic security. First, digital transformation, DX. At this year's G7 Hiroshima Summit, which I chaired, we launched the Hiroshima AI process. In October, we, G7, agreed on the international guiding principles and international code of conduct for organizations developing advanced AI systems. We'll continue to deepen discussions with both the G7 and no-G7 partners to spread rulemaking on safe, secure, and trustworthy AI. Next, green transformation, GX. Last week in COP28, about 120 countries around the world, including Japan, agreed to the goal of tripling global renewable energy capacity and doubling the rate of energy efficiency. GX is not limited to renewable energy and energy conservation. It urges not only steel and chemical industries with high carbon emissions, but all the industries to undergo major transformation and change of industrial structure, which is comparable to the Industrial Revolution. In Japan, we will stimulate public and private investment of more than 150 trillion yen for 10 years to promote green transformation. The government will lead the way with a 20 trillion yen investment program. To this end, Japan will issue the world's first GX economy transition bond, which is a transition bond as a country. Asia, which is the growth center of the world, is also the industrial center of the world. And it is no exaggeration to say that the success of GX in this region will determine the future of the world. The issuance of the bond will trigger attracting money from the world to be invested in GX in Asia, which is said to be in the tune of 4,000 trillion yen by 2050. At the same time, through initiatives such as the Asia Zero Emission Community, AZEC, for which I will host a leaders' meeting for the first time in Tokyo this month, we will expand GX to Asia and the rest of the world to simultaneously achieve the three goals of decarbonization, stable energy supply, and economic growth globally. Digital transformation, DX, and green transformation, GX, may be the positive reflection of competition or cooperation between countries around the world. What is the underlying reality? As one of my European friends once told me, it is important to build a supply chain for clean energy globally. But depending excessively on a single country for its supply is not desirable. We live in an era when economic dependence can be weaponized at any time. On the other hand, what can we do to rebuild supply chains when we cannot compete against inexpensiveness? This is where we find an intersection with the issue of economic security. At the G7 Hiroshima Summit, economic security was discussed as a standalone agenda item for the first time. There, we confirmed that the principles of trustworthiness and reliability are essential for enhancing supply chain resilience. Building on this discussion, establishing a fair market and business environment globally, and ensuring the concrete level playing field for trustworthy and reliable supply chains. Together with like-minded countries such as the United States and the European Union, will accelerate discussions to put these ideas into practice as soon as possible. When discussing how to build global supply chains, we must turn to the countries we call the Global South. Through communication with the leaders of each country, I have come to understand that they have a strong desire to take part in the global supply chain. Moreover, their desire is directed towards future industries, industries such as digital transformation, DX, and green transformation, GX, that are at the forefront of our time. In March this year, I announced the new plan for a free and open Indo-Pacific, FOIP. We will embody cooperation in an Indo-Pacific way through the concept of accepting diverse values, cultures, and histories, respecting others, being considerate of others, promote cooperation through dialogue, and dealing with various issues realistically and practically. To put the new plan for FOIP into action, I take this opportunity today to announce the launch of the initiative for flagship projects on future industries in the Global South. Highly motivated Japanese companies, together with companies from the United States and other like-minded countries, will create cutting-edge business models in the Global South. They will contribute to problem-solving and win trust and presence all over the world, which will lead to the stabilization of the international economic order. I would like to launch flagship projects which represent public-private cooperation between Japan and the Global South on future industries. This year, in our G7 presidency, together with like-minded countries, we showed the direction that we should be taking in the area of DX, GX, and economic security. At the beginning of my speech, I asked a question. In an era where division and cooperation are so intricately intertwined, what can Japan do? With our strong motivation and ability, we will pave the way along with our partners. Our country should be the prime example of a trustworthy partner. Japan will actively contribute by building bridges between developed countries and developing countries, and bridges between governments and the private sector. Japan, together with these partners, will boldly tackle various challenges in the G0 world. Lastly, I am confident that discussions held today will provide a beacon of light to the world regarding a better future. With that, I conclude my opening remarks. Thank you for listening.